My name is Jamin. I'm your first friend in Alaska. Luckily for you, I'm also an associate real estate broker in South Central Alaska. And today we're going to be talking about what are the 10 biggest mistakes people make when they are moving up here to Alaska. Obviously, everyone is just so focused on moving up here that not a whole lot of people give a lot of thought as to, what kind of mistakes they can make once they actually do live up here. Well, I've had the opportunity to see a lot of people move in here and settle, and I can give you, this pretty good list talking about the mistakes that I see some people make. So before we get started though, do make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Consider that your toll tax for seeing this great content. And without further ado, let's jump into it. One of the first mistakes that I'm going to say I see people making is they kind of just assume that they're just going to start meeting people and they don't really put a whole lot of effort into it. Alaskans can be social, they can, be really warm and receptive to people, but you got to be willing to put in the work and kind of that effort to kind of make that first step and to get out and actually meet people. You can't just sit in your apartment or in your home or wherever and think you're going to be getting lots of social interaction. It takes a lot of intentionality, especially once you start getting past like your 20s, to actually get out and meet people. The second mistake I see people make is they kind of just assume adventure is going to come to them. Again, if you are on your couch in Alaska, you are just going to be on your couch in Alaska, okay? You're not going to be getting out and experience anything, and you're not going to have like adventures just showing up for you unless, you're a hobbit and like a wizard shows up. But other than that, you're not really going to be getting out and having a whole lot of adventures if you're just sitting at your apartment or wherever and just not making the effort to get out and enjoy stuff. Just because you're in Alaska and you've got all these potentially incredible adventures right there out your door does not mean that you're just going to get them through osmosis. You have to be willing to actually get out and make it happen. All right, this is a really big one, and that is spending all of your money on one type of season's activities. In other words, let's say you are really into four-wheeling, and that's great. You go all in, you get all the best gear, and you have an incredible, we'll say 2.5, 3, maybe 4 months. I'll be generous and say 4 months. 4 months of just four-wheeling, getting out there, seeing the best of Alaska, and then winter's here, and you got no money left for anything else. So really, the big mistake I see some people make is they just go all in on one season, and they don't really put any kind of investment in the other season, which is like the other half of the year. So if you're really into summertime activities, great, go for it. Make sure you're out there living your best life, and also have some plans for what you're going to be doing during the winter time. You might not be able to go buy like the best of everything or do everything you want to do during the winter time if you've already kind of blew the budget on the summer stuff, but try to have some activities that you can do even without having all the money in the world. If you just say, well, I had my fun during the summer and now I'm just going to wait till the next summer, that's going to be a recipe for disaster. Likewise, if you are one of these weird people that really just enjoy the wintertime activities at the expense of summer, then again, you're going to be kind of miserable. So you need to kind of shake it up a little bit and try to find how you can enjoy each one of the seasons here. And if the stuff you enjoy doing is pretty expensive, then try not to go all in on just one season. Maybe take a couple seasons to get to that point where you can enjoy everything. The next one is not staying busy during the wintertime and really kind of underestimating the impact of the darkness up here. Now, a lot of people get themselves into trouble because they really just want to get up here, enjoy the summertime, and the winter is just kind of something that they endure, and they don't really make a whole lot of effort to get out and really enjoy themselves during the winter. That's kind of a mistake, but a step beyond that is kind of underestimating the impact of darkness altogether. Now, I say darkness specifically because a lot of people will not underestimate the cold, because that's kind of the problem. They're huddled up inside and they're not willing to go out at all. And that really becomes kind of dangerous for a lot of people because you start getting into a lot of psychological problems if you're not outside and at least trying to stay busy. And I mean, you can look at our suicide rates. There's usually some influence of seasonal affective disorder, sad, with just about every suicide rate, just about every suicide incident out there. So the big thing if you're moving up here is you just want to make sure you stay busy during the wintertime and you get like some kind of happy light, or you take vitamin D supplements, get out of state, get some sun, do whatever you have to do, but just make sure you don't underestimate the impact of the darkness. Some people, it's not going to impact them, and it's just, you want to know it's winter just by being around them, because the darkness just has no impact upon them, and that's great for them. Most people are not like that, so just when we're talking about the winter, don't focus as much on the cold, focus more on the darkness and how that's probably going to impact you. All right, now this next one, I know it certainly doesn't apply to any of you people because you are great about maintaining relationships and everything. But if you're going to burn bridges, or you're the type of person who does burn bridges, Alaska, you probably need to move beyond that habit, because Alaska is a really small town. There's like 1, maybe 2 degrees of separation from everybody, and you have to be real careful who you burn bridges with, because you just don't know who knows who up here. And it's not like in a big city where you can just, act a fool and then just disappear into the crowd. No, like just everybody knows just about everybody. So don't act a fool up here. If you're going to burn bridges, don't do it lightly, and certainly don't do it frivolously. Now, let's go and take a break real quick. For those of you who've been watching for a little bit, you do know that I host a podcast called the Alaskan Journey Podcast. We have the video version of that right here on this channel. So if you're interested in being a guest on this show, maybe you've moved up here and you just enjoy staying up with, the channel and everything, do feel free to reach out to me. Link to the website to get in touch with me is in the description section down below. I would absolutely love to have you on to chat and kind of see what you think of Alaska up to this point. And also, if you're looking at moving up here, you're not quite here yet, you're kind of early in the stages, make sure you get a copy of my relocation guide. Go to the, website in the description section down below, register, and make sure you just put relocation guide in the little comment section so I know what to send you. Now, let's go and finish up today's video. The 6th mistake that I see people making when they move up here to Alaska is not budgeting properly to go and visit friends and family down the lower 48. Because I know everyone's just kind of fixated on getting up here to Alaska. Not a whole lot of people put a whole lot of thought into, leaving Alaska for any reason after they've been up here. But let me tell you, if you're moving up here to Alaska, it's going to feel like an island, and sometimes it feels like a completely different country, which for some of you, you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Okay, slow your roll just a bit. Make sure you at least, if at all possible, you have the option to go back and visit friends and family down in the lower 48, because sometimes the loneliness does kind of start to get to you as you're starting to rebuild your life up here and rebuild a social network. So just make sure you give yourself that freedom to be able to get out and reconnect with people that you're really close to. Next, I would say that some people do not give Alaska enough time for them to decide if they like it or not. Some people will get up here for less than a year. Some people will get up here for maybe they'll give it a full year, and they just decide, yay or nay, kind of based on that point. You get close to a year, okay, I guess I can see that. Some people will come up and they give living up here maybe a couple weeks or a couple months, and they're out. And obviously that, for some people, that is correct. Other people, maybe we should look at the area of Alaska that you were in. Maybe you went too remote. Maybe they went to some other more populated areas and they need to go somewhere that's a little less populated. So the big thing is that sometimes people who decide to just leave Alaska after being up here for next to no time is maybe just give it more time or find a different area. I mean, Alaska is a completely different pace of life than probably what you're used to. And so you need to give it a little time for you to kind of settle in and figure out what this whole Alaska thing is like. All right, number 8. If you are in Alaska, you should really try to focus on doing stuff that you can only do in Alaska. In other words, you can watch a TV show anywhere. You can go to the mall anywhere. You can go to the movies anywhere. What you can't do is you can't go for an ocean kayaking trip and go out to see Blackstone Glacier outside of Whittier. You can't go for a halibut fishing charter. You can't go to the Katmai National Park and see the big bad grizzly bears down there as they're feeding on the salmon. There's just all sorts of things up here in Alaska that you just really can't do anywhere else. And some people get up here and they start doing stuff that they can do literally anywhere else. My advice, if you're up here in Alaska, do stuff you can only do in Alaska. All right, number 9. And this one's going to be getting a little bit more cerebral here, but bear with me. And that is staking your Alaska experience on things that are outside of your control. In other words, like just saying, well, the weather wasn't very good, so I just hate Alaska. And this might kind of tie back a little bit with not giving Alaska enough time. Like if you're up here for 3, 4, 5 years, like you're going to have some great years up here and you're going to have some years that just really kind of suck as far as the weather goes, or, anything else that's really outside of your control. You kind of have to have a little bit of that central locus of control, inner locus of control where, you can just kind of understand, okay, well, this kind of sucks here. I do control more of what's going on around me than what I might think or feel right now. And I'm going to perceive this in as positive of light as I possibly can. And I know that's kind of tough sometimes, especially when the weather does get down to like -20 or something like that. But having that mindset is going to make Alaska a lot easier for you to settle in than if you just become kind of almost like a victim to the elements, where you just base your entire experience and whether you enjoy it or not off of, is it exactly what you want it to be, or, is it not? And then it's all based on, external factors. All right, this next one, I'm probably going to get a little bit of heat for it, a little pushback in the comment section. And hey, I'm okay with that. I am open to debate here. But I would say if you want to be married, it might be a mistake coming up here single. I know that sounds a little cynical for me right at the moment to be saying that, and might be something to that. But I would say that if you do want to be married and that's really important to you, Alaska's probably not going to help you very much. It's a wild dating market out here in these streets, let me tell you. But we can talk more about that in private if that's something that you're interested in. But everyone else, thank you very much for joining me, and it was great hanging out with y'all. We'll see you next time.